to the degree it wasn't entirely the fault of the United States, but I think we share the majority of the blame for easing up on Iran and the Houthis and giving money to them. But there was also some culpability in Israel, not with the people, but I had been there the last 2 years, summers, and there was an unrealistic appraisal that they'd reached sort of even Hamas they could deal with. And people would say to you, Victor, we have 20,000 people working here and we pay higher than anywhere else they can work. And when they get injured, we take them to the most sophisticated health care and we have a university program and you would politely say, but maybe your magnanimity is going to incur envy or be seen as weakness to be exploited rather than to be reciprocated. And I think they were so successful. All of their existential problems they felt solved. They had these huge, sophisticated desalination plants, and they were giving some to the West Bank water. They had gone into this consortium with Greece and Cyprus about natural gas extraction. They'd found huge deposits of natural gas. Their Silicon Valley equivalent was earning multi-billion dollars in foreign exchange. And to go to a city like Haifa and compare it to San Francisco. San Francisco's downtown is dead. It's dangerous to walk after 8 o'clock. Homeless people, discreetment. You go to Israel, young children were out at 11 at night. The restaurants were packed. The stores were full. There was no homeless. So they felt they had kind of solved their problem and they had been so successful that even the Palestinians would give them their due and probably follow suit and think, you know what, we can be the Hong Kong in Gaza. But that was so unrealistic on their part. And I think they have been shocked to their senses and they're not going to go back there again. And so what I'm trying to say is what was very dangerous was the attitude they had before. Not now. They are trying to reestablish deterrence, partly because the United States has lost it in Afghanistan and with China, but they're trying to say, if you attack Israel, the disproportional response will be of such a magnitude you will regret it, and you will always regret it. And I think they showed that in Gaza. And yet they're not trying to rub their noses in it. They're not trying to say, we hate you, you're horrible people. They're just trying to say, we don't want this. We do not want this. But if you attack us, the disproportionate response will make you unable to continue. And we're going to do the same thing with Lebanon. We're going to do the same thing with the Houthis. And the center of all of the problems, John, as you know, if Iran had a consensual Republican Democratic government, we wouldn't be talking today about this. If you went back, it didn't even have to have that. If it had a government analogous to Egypt or Jordan or Saudi Arabia, you wouldn't have this problem. You have a revolutionary fascist regime, theocratic in Iran that's causing all of this problem. So ultimately, they're just tentacles on an octopus, and the head of the octopus is Tehran, and Israel knows that. And that's why it's very important that the United States, once Iran puts its head in the noose, to mix metaphors, they should really pull the rope and say, you know what? You attacked us with 182 ballistic missiles, all designed to kill thousands of Israelis, all at night. And we're going to reply in a way that you will regret you ever did that. And I think they can do it. But if we restrain them and they go back to 3 missiles are going to go to Iran after 320 went to us, then you're going to get this again and again and again. If Israel, months ago, after suffering 320 projectiles in its airspace, had it not listened to the United States and had it not just sent 3 missiles to take out their anti-aircraft, but let's say they had taken out Karg Island, I don't think they would be suffering 182 today. I think the Iranians would have been so angry, they would have said, oh my God, they took out our oil revenue. They have the ability to take out and that would have stopped. Or they would have lost the public support, such as it is. So disproportionality, whether we like it or not, historically is what makes war stop, for good or evil. And proportionality is a way what the Romans called a bellum interruptum. It's just first Second, Third Punic War, First Battle of Mantinea, Second Battle of Mantinea, World War I, World War II. Had the Allies been disproportionate in World War I and not gone in with the armistice and not had the Versailles Treaty and just treated the defeated Germans the way they did in World War II, occupied the country, divided up zones of occupation, and then changed the government and sat there with a base for the next 30 or 40 years like they did after World War II, there would have been peace. I think that everybody has a long impression, and I get back to the Versailles Treaty because it's so historically important. The problem with the Versailles Treaty was it was so humiliating and weak at the same time. But what you want to be is magnanimous and tough. So we were very magnanimous to the Germans after World War II. We tried to rebuild the country with a Marshall Plan. We forgave them for so many things. We included them in NATO, but we were very tough at the same time. And that's the way you stop violence and war. All of the atrocities that were suffered by Australians from Japan, as was Britain and the United States, we were incredibly tough and destroyed that country. And then we went right back in, the Allies did, and rebuilt it and created a good government. And they learned two lessons: that it's a good thing to be a Westerner, and if you cross a Westerner and you try to attack them again, bad things happen. And I think that's a lesson that Iran has to learn, that all good things can come if they want to be a westernized country with a humane government. It doesn't even have to be humane, John. It just has to be non-bellicose. And I don't think necessarily Egypt is a humane government, or Jordan, or any of them are, but they don't attack Israel with rockets at night. And they don't do it not because they've evolved so much, as that in the past when they did it, it didn't turn out well for them. And they understood that after three Mideast wars. But let's hope that Israel is allowed to restore deterrence for its homeland. If it does, I think Iran will it won't be immediate, but they will gradually see that they won't do that again.